Testimonial aids for civilian witnesses in the Ontario Criminal Court are an essential component of the Criminal Code in Canada and is provided for in the Criminal Code under Section 486.2. The details, reasons, and explanations for these testimonial aids is going to be discussed in more detail in this presentation. Testimonial aids are available to witnesses that are classified as vulnerable for some reason. A vulnerable witness is not every civilian witness, nor is it limited to civilian witnesses. A vulnerable witness is anyone that is requiring special accommodation for their safety and security while giving testimony in a criminal proceeding, or to accommodate a disability, mental or physical health limitation, or to address other issues of vulnerability that have been itemized in the law. An issue, however, has arisen in the Court of Justice in Ontario, where these applications for CCTV or support person for witness have become the norm and not the exception. It is a very important component of the criminal code and the criminal trial process in Canada that is essential for addressing constitutional validity of testimony and also for ensuring protection of the justice system as a whole. But it's also important for accused and witnesses to understand when such testimonial aids ought to be used in the court and when it is not appropriate. The provision in the criminal code that provides for a witness to have either a support person, a screen between them and the courtroom, or for them to give their testimony over CCTV footage, which is often referred to as Zoom, was designed to ensure justice not only for the vulnerable witness, but for the accused and for the court as a whole. It's intended to accommodate legitimate and reasonable issues that a witness may face and provide for them to be able to give the most reliable, coherent, and reasonable evidence that is available so that the court can make a decision. Typically, these testimonial aids are provided to civilian witnesses under the age of 18 with a disability that limits their ability to fully participate in the court, or due to other personal circumstances. A support person or CCTV footage, also known as Zoom, can accommodate a person's mental health issues, anxiety, severe distress, and ensure that the testimony they're giving isn't given under duress or twisted in some way as a result of their personal circumstances and situation. It is also important to remember that while a courtroom can be big and scary, with lots of procedure and process, and very open with witnesses, family, friends, judges, lawyers, officers, sheriffs, all in this open space, the simple reality of this being new, scary, or even slightly intimidating is not sufficient to give every witness a CCTV box outside of the courtroom to give their testimony through. It may seem strange that after so many years of COVID and learning to watch the court and participate in court actions through Zoom, that we don't just accept it for everyone. But there are realities about the courtroom that make it very impactful. And there are elements of our Constitution that ensure a proper and fair trial is conducted. This is why the court can and ought to refuse an order or request from a witness or the Crown for CCTV footage if there is not a satisfactory explanation as to how the witness is disabled and incapable of providing testimony in the courtroom, and a detailed explanation of how giving the testimony outside of the courtroom will not interfere in the proper administration of justice. Support animals are available to come into the courtroom as a general rule of law. Support people can be a problem, but also could be present in a courtroom for both the accused and the witnesses. Zoom technology tends to remove the witness from the court, and this can sometimes be very hazardous to the emotions that can be stirred, to the ability of defense counsel to get testimony out of the witness, and for the witness to take this situation serious. They're sitting in a chair in the comfort of their home or in the comfort of an office somewhere else in the building, and they don't really get the opinion and the sense that what they're saying and what they're doing is very significant. The courtroom, however, definitely sends that message across. The use of CCTV or other testimonial aids is not simply limited to domestic violence or child witnesses, although they are the ones where it was intended to bring into play. Additional reasons for CCTV and other testimony aids includes mental health issues in adult witnesses like anxiety, nervousness, extreme shyness, such that the witness would be incapable of providing a proper testimony in an open court. That does not mean that every witness who is embarrassed or emotionally upset by the proceeding or has never been in court before and might be intimidated by the entire process should receive CCTV. The process in the law was designed to address and make accommodations for people who required those accommodations. Central to the analysis on testimonial aids are the factors as to whether the accommodation will enhance the truthfulness of the testimony or undermine the criminal court process. Determining whether or not testimonial aids such as CCTV footage should be used is weighed by a number of factors that the judge needs to take into consideration. Obviously, the age of the witness is a big factor. Someone who is underage or very young age would definitely be hindered in being truthful in such an intimidating way as an open courtroom. Mental and physical disabilities of witnesses can also play an important role. The nature of the offense and the nature of the relationship between the witness and the accused is also very important. When you have someone who's been trafficked by another individual, beaten, sexually assaulted, or domestic violence partners, wives and husbands, children of the accused, all giving testimony, there could be a lot at play between seeing the accused. Sometimes a look of the eye, a flick of the hair, a crossing of the arms can send a message silently between these partners and family members where there was a close relationship that a judge or counsel may not pick up on. Further, the witness' safety and freedom from intimidation must be considered, and the need to protect society's interest in witnesses being willing to come forward. That being said, they have to balance these factors for the witnesses for factors that affect the interest of justice and factors that affect the accused right to a fair trial. Because as we said, justice is the goal. The ability of counsel and the judge to assess a witness's credibility, to understand their testimony, may be compromised over Zoom. And the reasonable opportunity for counsel to show documents to the witnesses and impeach their testimony from prior in the proceeding can be seriously impacted. A technical malfunction could prevent the witness from being heard or hearing correctly, and testimony outside the courtroom fails to impact the seriousness of the situation on the witness for the accused. All of these factors must be considered by the court when they consider making this order. These orders should not be automatic. They should not be without dispute or discussion. They should not be made without submissions. The onus is on the applicant to prove that on a balance of probabilities, the witness will suffer mentally or physically, and therefore a CCTV testimony room or space or screen blocking the rest of the courtroom from the witness is required in order to provide proper testimony and a full and candid accounting of the events. The application can be made at any time during the proceedings, even to the presiding judge over the trial. But it must be made and brought prior to the witness beginning their testimony. The criminal code is meant to protect everyone, the accused and the witnesses and the officers. But also, and most importantly, it's intended to ensure justice for all.